What if I told you there was a major ingredient in food that causes cancer, obesity, and even heart attack? What if I told you this ingredient was in up to 90% of the foods Americans enjoy? What if I told you that you were lied to by major corporations in order to keep you feeling sick for their own monetary benefit? How would you react? Would you be upset? Would you want to find the one responsible? Today, on Dark to Light, we will dive into this rabbit hole and discover the truth as to why Americans are crippled by major health disorders. Linoleic acid, or polyunsaturated fats, are the reason for this rapid rise in cancer and heart-related concerns over the past century. Okay, you're probably thinking, how could a random fat that's present in almost all of our food supply cause such serious diseases? Just think about this for a second. What if the activity you plan your whole day around, the activity you repeat 3 or even 4 times a day, the activity that consumes so much of your thoughts during the day, what if that activity had an effect on your health? Just think about it. Before we continue, let's define what linoleic acid actually is. Linoleic acid, or for the purposes of this video, La, is an essential nutrient that contains 2 double bonds along the carbon chain. What does this mean though? Well, it means the body cannot naturally make La, so modern day companies and doctors have told us we need to consume La because our bodies cannot make it naturally. But alas, this is where we find the problem. We are consuming way too much La. Back in the early 1900s, humans used to consume 1 to 2% of La in their diet. Nowadays, however, humans consume upwards of 25% La in their diet. Studies have shown that animals consuming 10% or more La are almost 100% likely to come down with cancer. Yet we as humans are consuming over twice that amount, and we're surprised the cancer rates are so high. But wait, what kinds of foods contain La? Well, the list includes, but is not limited to, pizza, potato chips, fries, anything that is fried, any type of vegetable or cooking oil, such as olive, sesame, almond, etc., most breads, chicken, salad dressing, pasta dishes, mayonnaise, and much, much more. In fact, nearly all meal items that Americans have been coached through TV marketing to consume have La in them. But who is responsible for this? Who is to blame? How could an ingredient so detrimental to our health be in almost everything we eat? Well, you ever heard of Procter & Gamble? You know, that harmless American company based out of Ohio that's responsible for a lot of fast-moving consumer goods such as conditioners, shampoos, detergents, surface cleaners, toothpaste. Okay, obviously you've heard of Procter & Gamble. But how did it get to this point? How did they become the monster they are, poisoning our food supply the way they are? Let's take a closer look at Procter & Gamble's company history. During the industrial age, many manufacturers had to use big machines in order to produce the machinery of the new world. These machines required oil in order to operate though. Originally, these companies would hunt whales in order to obtain this oil. However, whale hunting quickly became frowned upon, and thus, companies were forced to stop hunting them for their machines. So, they found a new way to produce oil, from seeds. Thus, the creation of vegetable oil. They didn't use it in the machines for long though. As natural gas took over, there was no need for it. The industry pivoted though, and Procter & Gamble decided to use it in their soaps and conditioners. However, during the production, Procter & Gamble realized the oil could be used as a substitute for fat or butter. and so they started using it in food. Hence the creation of Crisco, the first vegetable oil company. They've fooled Americans into cooking with a product that's bad for your health, a product many Americans use every day. But how did they do this? How does a random company like Procter & Gamble convince the American populace that butter and animal fats are bad for us? These are foods we've been cooking with as people for generations. The truth is, major marketing schemes were employed in order to tug at the heartstrings of the American people. Procter & Gamble convinced women that they wouldn't have to churn butter anymore, thus liberating their time.
Hear that?
They also convinced people that it would save animals, as we wouldn't have to use their oils anymore. The company then released thousands of cookbooks. The first step to every recipe: vegetable oil. Procter & Gamble advocated that anyone not using their vegetable oil could be endangering their children. They said it was healthy. All the while, the obesity rate was increasing. At the same time, there was an increase in heart-related disease. In 1948, Crisco went out and paid the American Heart Association $1.6 million in order to say that their vegetable oil was safe. Crisco then went out and lobbied politicians in order to tax any Asian import of coconut oil. Procter & Gamble's goal was to make coconut oil seem unpatriotic. They said that buying their vegetable oil was the American way. Now that Procter & Gamble had their footing in American households, they wanted to get their product in restaurants as well. Phil Sokolov, a bully of the industry, would go around convincing these companies to use vegetable oil. And if they didn't, he would put out marketing campaigns to slander these companies until they did. He is credited for single-handedly forcing McDonald's to switch to vegetable oil. Since the switch, McDonald's has had issues with their pipes clogging. They've had to use a new sanitizer in order to clean them out. As a matter of fact, all restaurants had to switch to a new sanitizer because they're all using vegetable oil. The same process that's happening inside the pipes is happening inside our veins. That's why heart attacks are increasing. As you can see, Procter & Gamble flipped the narrative. They took something that humans have been eating for centuries and told us that it was unhealthy. They then gave us the most unhealthy option they could think of and told us it was healthy, all for their own monetary gain. These vegetable oils have slowly been killing us over the past 100 years. So you might be asking yourself, how do I combat this? Almost every restaurant uses this stuff. You're right, but we always have a choice in what we eat. There are some free websites that we will include in the description that will help you. One being Cryometer. It's a free online LA tracker. This will help you keep track of how much LA you're consuming on a daily basis. There are multiple websites that have lists of restaurants that don't use any LA in their cooking. It's also important to remember not to cook with any vegetable oils. Instead, substitute a coconut oil. At the end of the day, the best way to avoid LA is to read the labels. Be smart with your purchases. Let your wallet speak for itself. Lastly, buy local. Create relationships with your local farmers. Have these conversations with them. Spread the news. We're all in this fight together. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let's start a conversation about the foods we eat and how they affect our health. Thanks again for joining us today on Dark to Light, and always remember, we're stronger together.